I'm here with Bhupendra Ghimire is your full name.
Full name, but you can call me Bhupi. Everyone calls me Bhupi. That's easy.
Everyone calls you Bhupi. So you were born in the Everest region.
Called Okalunga.
Okalunga. And then now you are the president of VIN, so the organization that I'm being part of for these 2 months. And I was wondering if you could just tell us a little bit about your experience as a child and like growing up in that region with school.
Thank you. So you want to learn about my childhood time. It's a long story, but I have to cut it short. My childhood was very, I think, interesting because I was the first child of my parents. So I had to support for my mom, to raise other siblings, smaller ones. It was full of struggle and we didn't have schools nearby. I had to climb 1 kilometer vertical between 2.5 hours to 3 hours to go and same length to come back. Coming down would be easier.
Yeah.
You just throw your body, go fast, but it was full of struggle because I had to leave for school at about 7:30 and arrive to school by 10. That's when our school would start. But it was really difficult because by the time I arrived, I would be hungry.
Yeah.
So that time we would not have any school bags, or they would not give us any water to carry or any food to carry. So as a child, I had to wait whole day, empty stomach, So until I go back, which would be about again 6-7 in the evening.
So you would only eat in the morning and then
in the morning and in the evening. So that is the reason actually I didn't really want to go to school. That's why I told you, like, I failed 3 times.
Yeah.
I failed grade 1, I failed grade 6, and I failed grade 10. And then I came to Kathmandu for the university. Thanks to my parents, they decided to send us here, which is not easy because all the way from Okalunga to here, and it's very expensive. We had no place to stay, and to pay for university all, and for 2. Actually, I had another sibling, second brother as well. So my parents had to cover expenses for 2 children. But anyway, we came here. After I came to Kathmandu, I was already grown up. I was already 18. So once I enrolled in the university, then I think I had the purpose, what I was going to do and everything.
How did you find that purpose? Where did it come from?
I think it's because my mom was working so hard. I told you, my mom married dad. Dad and mom married when they were 14 years. And that's what mom said. Mom had to push dad to go to school. So dad was the first ever graduate in that region and became teacher. That's why we were so lucky. But mom was always struggling. I have 5 other siblings. So she raised 6 children. Actually, there were 7. One died when he was 6 months, I think. And she was amazing. She was so hardworking, so understanding, and how beautifully she was raising us. I think that's what always made me thought I have to support mom in some ways.
So right? She had this drive that pushed
true.
your father and then you and your siblings to get education.
And she never had any complaints. She was always working because we had livestock, a lot of cows, a lot of buffaloes, a lot of goats, and she had to take care of all of them. In the morning she had to cook food, then send dad to school because dad was teacher, he had to, and then also all of us. But of course we would support, my dad would support for everything. My siblings also had to support. But for mom to take care of all these things was not that easy. Yeah. And also plus cooking, right? But I would support mom as well, like for cooking, for everything, for bringing water. Because that time we had to carry water from so far. We had no water at home. We had to carry 1 hour. One thing I remember is I never I think, lived my childhood like a child because I was so responsible. I never had time to play, or I always had to work. That's what I learned. But when I came to Kathmandu, I thought I would have to support my, family, my my parents, and that's what the purpose. I have to study for that. So then I studied well. I think then I was always one of top 10 when I came to the university. From
But
the
how
second
come
year,
you failed 3 times in high school, the years, and then suddenly in university there was like a change?
I
and you
was no,
started
I was
being
still,
bright?
I think, okay, but when I was in the school, I didn't go to school much. That's why
Okay.
I failed. But when I came here, I had full time study, right? The
So you were
first year full
focused.
time, so I was just focused on that. And from second year, I got the scholarship, so I didn't have to pay.
Wow.
After graduate, then I became teacher trainer, and that's when I knew what I wanted to do, because as a teacher trainer I had to travel to many different places. I think that's something taught me. Before, I thought we are the only poorest people.
Yeah.
We thought we only had this kind of situation, but that was not true. When I started traveling for training teachers, then I saw the poverty was everywhere.
Yeah.
Children were, struggling for food. They had no school supplies. Education kind of was luxury.
Yeah.
So we I don't know, like, why still people went to a school, because first thing for us was to join our hand and mouth, right? For food
Yeah.
was the major challenge.
Because how can you learn if you're hungry, right?
True,
if you don't have
true.
your
That's
first
what
needs
always
being
I
met.
felt like. Teacher was saying something. They were always, we had this rote learning. Teacher would write something on the board. We had to copy and then we had to memorize. But for that I didn't have actually motivation, like, to do all these things. And they would give a lot of homework. We had to do homework, but I would have no time to do homework, because by the time you arrive home, it is already dark. Still, you had to support for mom, It was not that easy. But all these things, when I was trainer, I could see for other people too. And I generalized myself. No, it was just not me. It is kind of everyone.
Yeah.
There are, thousands of Bhupi like this, right? And I felt I can contribute some way. I can give back to my society some way. That's what I was thinking. I felt people's, need are interrelated.
Yeah.
For children, they go to school but they have no food at home. How does that work? That's why that gave me kind of a big motivation and also inspiration. If we could do something to support that lady to earn money, actually we could help kids to continue education.
Yeah.
It's just not you paying some tuition fee or the school uniform for children to go to school.
Yeah.
That alone cannot support.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought. Education, health, infrastructure, economy, all should go hand in hand.
And
And
that's
that
what
could-
inspired Vin.
Yes,
to begin
and
with.
that's what actually my whole idea was. The first presentation, as I said, I did to my, the organization I was working, was the holistic approach of community empowerment. If you really want to empower community, conduct thorough baseline survey, try to identify their real need, and then develop program from there.
Yeah.
May it be infrastructure or economy or education awareness, could be anything. And that's what Win was born, actually. That's what the idea. In the beginning, when I proposed to my organization, if they could support my idea to do, they said they liked it, but they could not support. That's why we thought, let's do something voluntarily. And that's what the name also born, Volunteers Initiative. The campaign in the beginning worked very well, but later, because of our political situation, the youth, they started migrating to other country for the work.
Yeah, so there was no young
That's
people
why
left.
there are not young people much who would join our campaign. That's why we thought, why not to also invite international people. So then we wrote content for the website, and slowly we started getting inquiry,
Yeah.
and slowly we started also learning how we could promote. So I say thank you to Google Guru. Amazing, like otherwise we are middle of nowhere, and how we would have access to people like you.
Yeah.
Right, it's amazing, the search engine, and it's amazing because of internet. I think as a small entity we could still have our say